is I had a chipmunk in my van for 2 nights, and it wakes up really early. And this morning it had its little eyes and its little tail, and it was looking at me between the two seats, and I said, "Oh, you cannot come with me. We do not have chipmunks in Louisiana. I don't know what you would be very lonely
Oh,
if you
you
went.
don't?
No
Oh, that's
chipmunks
a
in Louisiana.
bummer. Oh,
No
that's
chipmunks.
really sad.
Yeah. I thought I had like a bird visitor because I had this canyon cowie that was visiting me, and it was like coming really close, and I said, "Well, maybe it's the cowie underneath my van, like waking me up and tapping on my window and stuff." But it was a little chipmunk. But the good news is he didn't get into any food or gnaw at any wiring, because that's what they do. Hey Brad. Hey
What's
everybody.
happening?
Hey, what's up?
Not
Um,
too much.
I,
I know you didn't have chipmunks out in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, eh?
Now you don't have chipmunks,
Yeah,
do you?
yeah, I definitely do. We did. No,
You
do you have
do. So
squirrels?
we have really pretty bushy squirrels that they hunt and eat where I
Okay.
live. They
my
have
Because the
like red.
squirrels are more problematic for me than the chipmunks. They're talking about getting into everything.
Well, in Oklahoma they have pack rats. I'm like, I don't want one of those either.
No, I'd rather not.
Arkansas has Oklahoma and Arkansas have pack rats. We don't have pack rats. We have bayou rats, big ass bayou rats. But this
Like
was
Yeah,
swamp
swamp
rat.
this
they
rats.
have
little
many
chipmunk. It
rats.
was about this big, and it was like looking at me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "You've got to go. You've got to go, you little guy." I opened all the doors, and I said, "It's time for you to go."
And we
Did
have
you
pack
mind?
rats that built a whole nest inside of this engine of the, or not inside the engine, inside the cab of this big truck, the army truck, and it was just such a mess and just so gross. And then I cleaned it all out, and they went in and did it again, and they just wrecked it. Just
That's the problem. They're cute, but they make like you said, they make a mess and they tear everything up. I had no idea that they would chew through wiring just because.
Yeah.
Just because,
Because they
just
can, yeah.
because, just because they
Like you
can.
don't even,
What does a pack
right?
rat look like?
they look really cute. They're like big mice with big eyes, and their heads look like little giant mice heads, and they're really cute.
Do
And
they look like
they're
a gerbil, Annie?
No, they have
No.
a big ears, big eyes, just a big like mouse face, really cute like a mouse, but it's
No.
in a rat body, and they're really big, and they use their pee as kind of like a glue to hold their nest together.
Oh, lovely.
It's really bad. It's
Man, I'm
really
going to try
bad.
that. I'm going to. I've never
You
thought
mean you
of that.
haven't yet?
I've been collecting
Oh,
all
great
this pee,
idea.
and I've been like, what am I going to do with all this pee? And now I have something to try.
I think you need to
Cement.
drink it. Drink it. Put it on your skin. It's supposed to be anti-aging.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people I know that are like using it as a form of plasma therapy.
Seriously?
Seriously, seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
urine is
I
your
have not
blood.
heard that
It
one.
really is your blood. Like
it is your blood. It's
yeah,
plasma.
yeah, it's
Human, not rat.
blood.
Mm.
I don't have video, but I might. I've got a process running that's rendering frames. Can't be
Cool.
using the video card right now, but really happy to be here. Been looking forward to all this. I just wanted to say that, Lori. Of course, you're a moderator, but I just wanted to let you know that's I'm here. Just no video right now.
Well, it's good to hear your voice, James, and I'm glad you're doing all that amazing. Gosh, to have this processor that would be able to kind of access your human words and then kind of track it and see where, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
pull a green card, pull a white card. What's it gonna do?
yeah. I don't know if everyone's going to even be into this, but I've had this idea that if you did a one-on-one consult with the Oracle, like once every month or something, and then it was able to build up a profile of you, that might be interesting to offer that as something that
Yeah.
you'd be able to discuss or talk to, or even as more tools are coming down the pipeline, start to apply those tools to our videos individually, and just see what kind of information that might be there that might be interesting. So yeah, pretty intensive process right now, just because it's like about 15 years of a website that got put into WordPress. I've got like 12,000 comments.
Wow.
Like that's a lot of
Wow.
fucking comments. That's like a lot. I mean, most of them are probably spam, I'm guessing, but I do know that there's some articles I've written a long time ago that definitely have like in the hundreds of comments. But yeah, so it's a lot of tedious analyzing a comment and figuring out, does that story still exist somewhere? If like the Vanderbilts, for example, is one of my more popular ones. Do I have that story somewhere? Because it used to be on my website, but then it went down, and now with AI, we're building a new website, and it's uh, being able to have the ability to try and cross link those things kind of makes it worse, because it means I can do it, so I have to just try. So it's
Mm.
taken like a lot of time, but it's been very rewarding. I'm really looking forward to releasing this. There'll be a members area, and if you've done a consult with me, I think there'll also be, in addition to a members area, there's a like a private area where only specific videos you would also be able to access. But then the LLM would then have access to whatever you had access to also. So it kind of makes it, the security is kind of solved in the way of like how we would do this. And then yeah, who knows? The AI could even make the website like a really cool place, like a hangout place and things like that. So yeah, I'm adding comments today because I figured, if we had comments on the J True site, it would be one huge step to making it more of a social place, a place where
Cool.
people gather. But I don't want that to be the crux of what we discuss. I do want to say though that there was some talk about evil on the boards, about what is evil.
Sorry.
Yeah, and Deb's always, she's always gonna find a way to find the most evil ritual in the world. I'm just kidding, but being Freemason and all, she's she has her past.
In my
But
ways.
but a question came up about what is evil, and I think it's actually very dojo. And
Mm.
I wanted to bring it up briefly, and I also wanted to discuss our way forward, moving on from wherever we're going and whatever's going to happen. I'm really excited to be here. It's really fun. I really enjoyed the show we did Saturday. Um, I've been enjoying those radio shows too. And if I wasn't so busy on all this other AI stuff, I'd be enjoying the live streams too. But I'm really thankful for this community, and I think it's looking forward to how I can enhance that in any way with the website and stuff. One of which would be this idea of evil. I don't know a lot of other people that discuss evil as a lack in you. A lot of times evil is, well, there's everyone else is fucking evil, and that's the problem with the world. Is everyone's fucking evil. And obviously I'm not evil purely because I'm defining what evil is. The moment you start to say what evil is, you are not evil, because you're the one that's defining evil, and you just get a pass. It's a diplomatic immunity. It's it's a clever little thing. Whether or not we know it's
Jesus
there,
Christ.
or whether or not that's why we do it, it still happens. And I wanted you to consider that every single thing that you think is evil in the world, first of all, it still gets to be evil, so don't worry about it. But that it better, if you were to dojo that word, a better, more honest thing to say, posture wise, long term posture wise, would be that evil is kind of like a spam label. It's something that we put on something that allows us to dismiss it. And by dismiss it, it means we don't have to compassionate what it is. In fact, we can put it in a cellophane of narcissist, psychopathic,
Mhm.
evil, or all the other things, and it gives us the ability to dehumanize something, which I don't want to take that away from you. I want to weaponize what you guys choose to dehumanize. I don't want to stop it. I want to weaponize you at doing that, because I want you to do it only when you notice how vorpal it is, if this makes sense. Like you'll be safer if you fired a gun 10,000 times, I swear, If you're going to have a gun, you're going to be safer if you fired it 10,000 times. And it's kind of the same thing is true when it comes to evil, because I used to get a lot of prana, and I want other people to still get prana from calling things evil. I think this is a form of judgment. It's important because you define who you are.
Mm.
And if you become more advanced in these techniques of dojo, that every single time that you release evil into the world because you cannot explain it, you are actually giving yourself work to do in the future when you have to come back and remember what you cast into the evil bin, and you sort of have to make amends for it. I say this because we'll demonize someone that's acting poorly, and then we'll suddenly find a bunch of calories on the road one day, and all of a sudden we can see why they behave that way. And now they're not evil. They're not evil. You did not compassionate their function. You did not understand how that function is not only natural, but here's the biggie. In my mind, this is the biggie. You would have done the same thing too.
That's why I call it thoughtlessness. Um,
On whose part?
on the part of, like, if I do something in like really thoughtless that really wounds somebody, that's something I need to examine in myself, uh, uh, and make sure that, I, to use a religious word, to atone for it, to apologize for my bad actions, or whatever it is. I always consider, I mean, when I was a little girl, of course, I wanted to know what evil was, and I watched The Exorcist, and I was afraid of all kinds of things that I couldn't understand, and that's why I made myself understand everything that I could think of anyway. And then when I thought I knew everything, then I knew nothing. It's like that whole thing. I just, like, there's so much, oh my God, to know.
Yeah.
But
So let's consider, if you want to explore this, this is a really good practice. If you want to explore this, you get to say, here's the game. There is no evil in the world. There's only my lack of understanding why I wouldn't do the same.
okay.
And when I say why you wouldn't do the same, it doesn't mean that behavior is now morally good. It means that you compassionate why that occurred. Those are very different things.
That makes,
The
yeah,
child throwing a tantrum, loses his shit at recess, freaking has a response that is completely out of the realm of what every single person would call normal. It's so easy to call that child evil, and we still can. Like I said, it's you're not gonna you still get to do this, but you as the person, the alchemist, you as the person in dojo, gets to say, this is a challenge for me, and I want to see if I can meet it. I want to use my sonar to look at the history of this child and to uh, paint a picture where I would do this naturally, and I would feel as if it was a moral decision. And I swear to fuck, you're going to find that that's truly where most people behave. That most of the behavior that you call evil, someone is making a moral decision. And that moral decision is so fucked in your mind only because your capacity muscle is weak. That's why.
but what about evil, that, like, demon evil that is otherworldly? That's the evil that I have always wanted to
Yeah, and
understand.
I think this is a fantasy. This is a fetish, a sexual titillation that we create, because the more things that we dismiss as spam, the more that we need to create a source of spam in the world, because otherwise we're going to have to blame ourselves and say, well, I'm the one that's doing that. So we create a universal evil. And the moment you create a universal evil, you now have an escape hatch. You have a Wunderschnitt, a vortex, a black hole where you can dump things into and no one else notices. You're sweeping it under the rug energetically. So having a source of evil becomes the most necessary thing for a weaker mind. I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but for a weaker mind would need to have an eternal source of evil. A Luciferian cult, a baby skull raping pedophile organization, makes people feel better. It
I
makes
like
them
that.
feel better because they feel that now that's their duty. They don't have to feel bad for calling things evil. They have to feel that they have an obligation to go out and label all of the things, sort of like a sighting target, where, like, I'm going to label you as evil so God will come later and carpet bomb the shit out of you.
Mm.
So you turn into what used to be a weakness, what you used to be an excuse to put things into spam, and you turn it into a weapon. You've weaponized the enunciation of what you call uncompassionable. And it sets up a weakness Olympics where now you're competing for which person has the least amount of compassion. I swear to you, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
After I read The Godfather when I was 12, and I thought they were just, I loved the organization and the family and the structure and the loyalty. I loved everything about it. And that's when I said, okay, well, that's not evil. That's different.
Yeah.
And but it's not evil. So what is evil?
Yeah.
Well, I like that they brought up the idea of children, right? Because it's not diminutive in the sense of like saying better or worse, but you would understand a child would not have the same level of awareness. So, Deb, when you're talking about if I thoughtlessly do something, well, let's take a child. How much self awareness does a child have? And if you expand that out to just the world and everybody, and you accept that people just mentally, if you want to, energetically, they're all different levels. So full grown adults still have a limited level of awareness like a child, right?
My mother gave me that book, for instance.
And and so if that's what we're dealing with, right? And you start trying to look out at what someone's doing. So like the mafia, right? Let's say they're at a certain level. I don't know what it is, but what they're doing is serving themselves, and their level of compassion is only up to a certain point to where they have to ignore maybe the harm they're doing to others to
Only for
protect themselves,
children.
right? But
Yeah.
that's just a certain level of awareness.
Mhm.
So if you extend that out and you start to see it in terms of the fact that okay, most people, and all of us included, right? For most people, we want to assume we're good people, right? Like we want to tell ourselves, oh, I'm good. And this whole idea of an outward evil does give us a place to dump it, like it says, to where we don't have to look at ourselves. So just talking about my personal journey, it's like the more that I was able to start acknowledging the fact that, okay, everybody wants to be a good, and this is how I experienced it too, right? As I start to see something about myself that I'm not proud of, that could be called, evil, right? If we want to label it like that, right? As soon as I start to make that aware in me, and so, okay, I start to address it like you're talking about becoming aware of it. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to mindlessly, hurt somebody, right? So as soon as I do that, I can look at others and be like, here, look, this is something that we shouldn't be doing. But since everybody individually is already in this space of thinking I'm a good person, right? So in order to maintain that, a lot of times you have to ignore the lies you're telling yourself, right? So a lot of times I think when the behavior comes out and it looks that way, it's not necessarily that the person is intrinsically trying to do evil, right? Many times they really do imagine they're good people, and we tell ourselves so many stories to justify that.
Yeah.
And what we can't really, and that's where I think a lot of it comes from, is we're all lying to ourselves until we're not, right? And that's everybody across the board. So you see behaviors that may look evil, but what it's really coming from is I can't look at this part of myself because I have this image I'm trying to maintain. And that's the first sort of layer you got to get through.
Sure. Well,
So,
a big way I think that we blind ourselves of our sonar, and this is purely selfish. This is not about let's call all of God's children good. I mean, first of all, I say
We're
but
not. We're half and half.
that's
well,
not
I'm
what I'm
saying
actually
that's
trying to
what
do. I'm
people
trying to say
like to think about themselves.
I'm trying to say that this isn't about bettering everyone's behavior. It's about if your goal is to sonarcate someone, your enemy across the mat, your opponent, I should say, excuse me, across the mat, the person that you may be calling evil. In order for you to call them evil, you have to become blind to the fact that they are operating from what they consider a moral good.
Right. And
it makes you blind to your opponent. This is a selfish technique. It's very Machiavellian. It's me telling you, find what is evil in the world and compassionate it. For all that to, and it's like, oh fuck it. But I don't mean to consent it. I mean to see it, because ultimately, if you follow this lesson of the evil, it leads you to a place, I think, where you have to say, or you get to say, every single thing that's ever been done to me where I've been wronged has been done to me by someone who is, in fact, equally on my level. I have a consensual relationship with them, and that I could have avoided this simply by standing in my power. And it's if you can apply those two things together, you are not seeing evil in the world, but you are seeing the world better. You're just simply understanding that you're taking your human body and you're saying, I give this human body to my opponent. What does this human body have? And it has a constant moral feedback that only rewards you and the thalamus for doing good.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh my God, I love that. I
What
didn't
I'm
know
trying
that.
to say is that your body, that we have to talk about, there's not a good receptor, there's not an evil receptor in your body, there's just pain receptors. But the way that your mind works is that you are limbically rewarded, which imbues your memory. This is so crucial to understand. You're limbically rewarded by doing good, what feels good. This is broadcasted to you through a network of majority faces, which download your how you feel through the social structure of a face-to-face connection. That shame face is part of it. It's through the voice too. I'm just saying that to get you to see it really quickly. So you've been conditioned for the longest time to be what the group considers morally good, what your family considers morally good, what your brothers consider morally good your whole life, and that you would die if you were to turn away from that very limbic addiction that was installed in you, not just by your body, not just by your liver, not just by all the other organs working in tandem, because they reward the thalamus the same way. All of them are competing. The thalamus decides you're doing good. Kidney, you are doing great.
Thalamus has to be I mean, I was never looked at in any way that anybody was telling me that I did anything good. I didn't even know if they loved me until I was a teenager. Because my family is like this uptight, waspy, like, anyway.
I would say that they were doing that, but it was at such a like 2%
with
of what it
with
should be.
jaw clenched.
Yeah, and it shows you that they're operating from a very low calorie position, and that they distribute positivity in a Fagin, Artful Dodger, Oliver Twist kind of a way.
That's for sure. That's for
And
sure.
and and that ultimately, though, when you really do look deeply at what's happening inside their body, they know that they will sleep better if they feel morally okay.
Well, I think they were
They-
just repeating how they were raised
yeah,
anyway.
well, you have to look at the level of what moral feels
Yeah.
like, and that each of us have different levels. But more importantly, that level changes based on your current stress, your current chronic pain, your current threshold of trauma, your current situation in life, your budget, your monetary means. That all these lower or raise your ability to you will either see more evil in the world or less evil in the world based on how much money you have in your pocket. I mean this energetically, how much money you have in your pocket. And when you look at that honestly, because I've honestly noticed, why am I not annoyed by Urkel today? This is when I was young. I was like, why the fuck would you use this as an example? Some days you love Urkel, some days you hate Urkel. People are like, what are you talking about? It's like, that guy just shows me how relativistic I am. As soon as I find that the most annoying thing you could ever hear, sometimes I think it's okay. I don't mind some Urkel. Well, we'll do some little Urkeling right now. And you let Urkel come in and do his little thing. He's got the pocket protector. And you realize really quick what your judgments really mean. It's an ebb and the flow of a tide, isn't it? It's a
But there's
tide that comes and goes. It's more generous and it's less generous. This is why I always talk about posture. This is why I always want you to say that there's no evil in the world, because you're just spending all that money. You're spending all that money. If you're going to believe there's a source of evil in the world, you have to hold that cosmology, because the shit ain't true. And for you to hold that cosmology means you have to constantly feed and invest that fire of, well, there's constant evil in the world because the Luciferian, Rockefellerian, Luciferian, all those other Aryans are in on it.
I don't know
And
about
that's what
any
they
of
do.
the Aryans, but if anybody was doing it, it would be the Aryans. But what I mean is, I'm sorry. I'm
So the
sorry.
Aryans are behind. I get it now. The Aryans are behind the Luciferians,
Yeah,
the pedophilians, the
all of
deep
it.
stadians. Yeah, yeah, they're all Aryans.
But
Okay.
what I wanted to bring up before we move on is that feeling. This is what the evil that I want to know about. The feeling if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't move, and that feeling like there's something terrible there. And what is that? Abject terror.
Yeah.
And what's
So
that?
Can I jump real
this
quick?
is
Like
this
James, you
is
just said that kind of the more fun you're having, the less evil you see in the world. And so, Deb, just to that point, real quick, it's like anytime we're feeling a state of anything less than that happiness and contentment, we are more prone to be looking for evil or wanting to call things evil or in that regard. I just thought that was a great point, James, about the fact that, like you say, the more, yeah,
terror is a experience, and evil is a label.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay. I see.
evil gives you the ability to dismiss things with zero prana. I'm telling you, it's this it's okay to use evil. I just want you to know how constructive it is, guys.
Yeah.
If you can call something evil, then you do not have to pay it any mind. You can dehumanize it completely. And what does that do? It means you now have calories for something else, which is why if you're running a bar, and honestly, the closest thing I could call this place sometimes to how it functions is kind of like a bar. Because sometimes people come in
Wonder words.
and they start throwing stuff around energetically, and the threshold lowers. How much tolerance do we have for Renee is a lot higher than how much tolerance we may have for person D, right? You understand how this works. I'm trying to get you to just put evil into this thing and understand how it really is just a lubricant
Plot device.
that you're allowed to set your threshold for what it's going to take. I think that most of the time check this out. I think most of the time we call people evil because we do not want to embrace the moral responsibility to pollinate them the
Mm.
other way. And if we can say, well, that guy's just evil, that literally means I don't have to adjust this because you and I have agreed there's this centrifugal force called evil that is the butt crack of the center of the universe that's sucking all this stuff in. So it's not like I could fix the giant butt crack of the center of the universe. So why would I have to fix this guy? I swear to you, that's it. But if you're walking around with this Jamesian kind of idea, which is that we are the only fingers of morality in the world, suddenly this is a very different thing because you're in the forest. This is the same way. You're in the forest, you meet a bear, the bear's pissed off. You discover that the bear has some mommy issues, and you can talk to the bear about his mommy issues, or you can just let the bear go and be like, that's the fucking world for you. And I don't think there's a right decision. I think if you can afford it, let's pull the giant tin can off the bear's head. Let's free the bear, right? If we can afford it. There's the ram and he's stuck around the tree with his horns, it's one, you're going to get kicked, really get hurt, you could be dislocated, you could fucking die. Two, you don't want to spend the rest of your life being haunted by the fact that you left that ram stuck to the tree. Three, this is God asking you, are you here to do this or not? Like,
Mm.
are you here to do this or not? So none of these things are evil. All of these things are opportunity. we get lost in terror, Deb. The word terror confuses the fuck out of us because terror is dissonance, because it's the opposite of tears. It's your pag just
Feel it.
shaving out into static, and that static makes everything blind unless you have a cosmology that there's no such thing as evil. Because if you have that cosmology, then you're just simply looking for where the good is, and the good may be the guy is has like 3 calories, and his only moral good right now was to punch that guy in the face. That I swear to you that it would be this
Yeah.
is why is this a moral good? Why are you calling it a moral good, James? It's like because when he was 7 this happened, when he was 12 this happened, when he was 18 this happened. This is the only calories he could afford. This is what he did. And he's honestly pretty creative. And then you get to figure out, how is this even a good move? Is it even a good move? And most of the time, you'll find that the person who leaves the room and everybody hates sometimes leveled the fuck up, man. They leveled the fuck up. And they only probably leveled up because people hate them, because it's the hatred itself that made them double down and say, I am morally superior to who I used to be.
Weirdly, you see that working in a bar.
Oh,
I
yeah.
worked in a pretty
That's,
rough bar.
yeah.
And,
Yeah,
yeah.
you see it all
So
there.
I,
PAG is periabductal gray. It's the area of your brain that secretes protein tears when you stress, when you get intense. If you go through anything intense, your PAG is going to be activated. And like I said before, elephants cry through their temples. It's above their eyes. If they have an emotional response, their temples cry from the PAG.
so I kind of had this interesting experience with kind of like running my central nervous system and kind of pushing myself into places that I had to watch my brain to say, is there evil here? And I kind of put a comment out on the book face saying I was more afraid of humans than I am of nature.
Yeah.
And then I got more comments on that because of this mind virus of the evil thing. And I was like, because I have it too. It's just like I'm pushing myself being out here with a big pickup truck doing a look at me turn around. And I already had this man come up to my van and have this conversation with me. And then my mind is going, yeah, that could be a Ted Bundy. Or I'm like, what happens in your brain when you start to like go out of your comfort zone, and then your central nervous system's a little bit tweaked, and then you make up these stories about evil. And I don't know, there's just something about pushing the envelope of like and then of course the guru comes in and says, the you shouldn't be showing your license plate. And I mean, it turned into the most witness, not witness for creativity, not witness for inspiration, but witness of fear.
And
That was the funniest thing ever. I was like, what is that?
That's to me, that's the shamanic journey, Lori,
Yeah.
that you wanted to go on
Yeah.
and that you took yourself to. And I don't think that you are exaggerating. I don't
I
think this is
don't
about me,
either.
but I was camping once in my car, and this dude showed up at like 2 in the morning and kept his lights on and kept it pointed at me, and it was fucking terrifying, Lord. Like it was fucking terrifying. And I'm a guy. Like I'm
I'm
just
glad
saying,
you're
I can't
coming
even
home.
imagine. I bet you're wigging the fuck out. And I bet you that you were dilated as fuck. I bet
I
you that,
couldn't I couldn't go to sleep.
yeah,
My eyes were open. I was
yeah,
like, I was listening to every crack, every coyote howling. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I was dilated. I was like a sitting white duck out in the middle of the ocean.
What if I
So,
told you that was a
that
red
feeling.
pheasant?
I believe it.
Yeah, that was a red pheasant. And you could power up from it as long as just during like 3 seconds you could enjoy it. In other words, you can go back to be terrified and be like, okay, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna start the car, whatever it is. But if before you do that, if for 3 seconds you stand on the verge of that and you go, wow, I am so alive right now. Wonder how much of me misses this so much and knows how hard I squeeze the reins to prevent this experience from ever happening. And look what I just pulled off. I have brought myself here. And you start to experience yourself on a whole another level. And I think that you're right to be afraid because you're the one that's going to be, I'm going to drive myself out to the Grand Canyon at 3 in the morning and I'm going to fucking have this. Like, you're the one. And you know that that's the danger. You know, ultimately know that that is the predator in the room. And I think if we can understand that, all of our power becomes our own predator because we start to get that. Because the rape that's waiting, the mugging that's waiting, the just fucking psychotic, who the fuck knows why they pulled out a gun and did that is still out there. All those things are out there. And I want you to know that if you wanted to sonarcate those people, those opponents on the mat, you would need to look at them from trying to accomplish a moral good, and you will survive longer. You will even prevent yourself from entering situations where things like that could even happen because you're aware of your surroundings. And more importantly, you're not being blinded by the static signal of the evil butthole in the middle of the cosmos. And instead, you get to use your own body as a cipher and say, what would I do if I had been brutalized, traumatized my whole fucking life, if I had epigenetic addictions to violence as an ex-pirate, and now I'm wandering through the desert in an El Camino, and I've got $7 in my pocket, and I've entered into a stupor where I don't even exist as an id anymore. What would I do? And now you're looking at the jungle. Now you're like, you know what? This is probably a lot of people like right now. Like, as we're talking right now, there's probably some fucks just like that cruising right now.
I
And,
met a
and
lot
isn't
of
this
really weird
nature,
people.
guys? Isn't this nature? See,
Yeah.
if you believe in evil, then you're like, we got to go fix that. That the world would be fixed if we went and we found all those right ones and then we killed them and we finished it. And technically, on paper, this looks like a brilliant plan, but then you just create a fascism, and the fascism makes all the predators have to become more cunning, more camouflaged, more hidden, more subtle. Then they start to be like department managers, human resource operatives.
The
They're
more
operating
pious they
inside of
are, the
fucking
worse.
companies right now, hiding behind fucking degrees because we've been like, we have to get rid of all the crazy fuckers in the wilderness. And it's like, you know what? Maybe we should go the other way. Be like, look, this is okay. Look, sorry, Nevada, but Nevada's wild zone. Fucking anything goes there. And you would create a magnet where every single person who wanted that would go to Nevada, and every single person who didn't would get the fuck out of Nevada, right?
Mad
It would
Max
be
land.
like that bar I worked at. Like it, I was by myself behind the bar, and the bar ran itself because there were bikers there, and it was like this kind of pecking order of male ego, and it was just kind of great watching. It was definitely an experience. Learned a lot watching people.
Hey, Renee's hands up. Hey, Renee, it's good to see you.
Hey, I almost forgot. My hand was up. It wasn't even that long. I was just listening to Deb, like, oh. And to you, Deb, when you brought up like waking up in the night paralyzed, and I'm assuming having like a terrorizing dream that maybe involved like evil or something. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I woke up in the middle of the night, I think because I smelled a Canadian forest fire. I was up at Rangeley, but I woke up, I was in my friend's house and I couldn't move. And I felt this intense feeling of evil. And yeah, I wasn't like, there was nothing scary about the setting. It was gorgeous. So,
Wow.
yeah, I just didn't know what the heck happened. What
Well,
that was.
yeah, I had a couple experiences, I guess, in 2020 where I would have these intense dreams where I felt like I was being killed. And I don't need to go into detail unless you're curious in some time, but I think back on those experiences and like the feeling that I was gonna die in a dream is so powerful.
Hmm.
and then to wake up out of it and like, did that happen? Did that? So it was that very liminal space I was in back then. And I'm really grateful that I can feel what that feels like, but within a dream, you know, the impact that dreams have on you that you recall. So where are those stored in the brain, James?
What, dreams?
Like a feeling that you had in a dream
Yeah.
in your
That's
body. It just seems that would just be kind of a different direction, like
Mhm.
coming through.
the
Because
feeling
like
was of a
Renee,
deep, deep well, if that.
I've had the dying dreams many times. I'm sure many of us have, but I'm curious, just Renee, in your regard, like I had one at a certain point where I was in the dream and it was happening. I was getting crushed, but it's like I had that thought as it's happening. Oh, this again, like because that happened in dreams so many times, and somewhere I kind of had, I guess, this feeling it was a dream or it was happening. And I knew it was happening, but it was like, have you ever had anything like that?
Um, Gosh, that's so cool and specific. I love that you had that. The one that I guess I'll share is I was being someone came around the bed I was sleeping in, I like the room I was sleeping in actually, and just kind of put their hand on me, just a shadow of a shadow. It was male though, and I was just like dying. I couldn't breathe. The weight on my chest was just so heavy. I'm like, wow, I can't stop this. This is just so powerful. And
I
like, oh,
felt
this is it. I'm going. And then I thought in my mind, I go, stop it.
Okay, yeah.
Stopped. And it came off like, oh my God, I was just freaking out. So that kind of feeling of that terror that you can experience in your dream state, I think it's just such a different feeling that you experience
Yeah, I would
when you
call those, I
waking
mean,
state.
I would say those are more terror, which is really, really cool
Yeah.
change versus evil. Like
right. It's different.
yeah, evil's a little bit different. Evil in my mind, would be the intentional, conscious approach of choosing the most immoral decision all the time and being loyal to that. That's and because in my mind, if you were truly evil, you actually would have no choice but to eat your own feet off. If you were truly at the heart of being truly evil, then that's what you would be. And we have a fantasy about evil that's highly productive, that's highly successful, that believes in growth, abundance, uh all the other traits that are not evil. It has, but then there's this other one little trait where where then it doesn't, and it so none of the math really adds up, is what I'm saying. We have other hands up, but it's if you
I
keep
just
thinking this way, you'll see what I mean.
I just wanted to add that when I was 18, I had this thing. I wasn't asleep, but something like came out of the ceiling and held me down, and I couldn't breathe, and it was trying to kill me. And I kind of like was like stalked by that. I started wearing a cross around my neck, and I couldn't be in alone, or like just the thought of I could bring it back, and it was like from another world. It felt like from another world, and now like I'm able to do like things that I couldn't do. And I used to have reoccurring like dreams as a kid where this witch was coming after me and trying to kill me, and a giant was coming after me and trying to kill me, and reoccurring dreams like that. So I've had a lot of like terror, but I wouldn't say it was evil. So I just wanted to add my little 2 cents. I know Yesenia's hand's been up for a little while, so.
That's a really,
I did see
really
a shadow person and I felt like that exact
yeah,
feeling. Go
I've had
ahead.
the same things, and I've felt their evil. By the way, I remember feeling, oh my God, that was the evilest, most dark
Yep.
thing. And I think that this is our PAG trying to describe the experience limbically. And so it has to find it comes to the crayon box and say, this black is not black enough. Where's the fucking charcoal? And then it leaves the box and it brings charcoal back and it's like, this is black. This is how I feel, right? And then you come back and now you're back into the normal black again, which is just the waxy kind of shiny black that everyone's used to. We call that evil. And I think if you called it evil less, I think you'd start to see that are you just shamanically are you having contractions in a conscious shamanic way by having these experiences that make you go, whether it be inspired by your own art, inspired because you're getting ready to go on stage, or fucking terrified because you're out in the middle of nowhere and a weird dude shows up. These are all performances for the self, And all of them give you the opportunity, the aperture expansion to go that way. So it's about knowing ourselves, really.
Wow, cool. Hey, Yesenia, go ahead.
And this dojo is so powerful. You guys have me leaking ink on a page. For instance, like with dreams, to piggyback on that, I one of my most reoccurring dreams that I had to transmute was it wasn't like a death, like people I had those of people chasing me, but for me it was like a suicide. I would always have a dream of me like falling to my death from like a skyscraper, and I would jump off, and then the second I would splat, I wake up, and it would happen reoccurring like throughout my childhood, even like till a couple of years ago, until I decided to be like, what is this, the past life? And then they kind of have stopped ever since I've questioned if maybe in a past life I've committed suicide, if that's how it works, I don't know. And then on the evil topic, I've just been like, a lot of your ideas, James, have been like echoing. It's like nothing's broken. You've said it a lot of times, you can compassionate a threat till they're no longer a threat. So if it isn't a threat anymore, it isn't evil. So everything that's been done to me has been chosen by me if I live in this world that's a mirror. And my withdrawal of it as it's occurring is my lack of commitment. And then I just kept going. My lack of commitment is a lack of compassion to my own consent vector. So evil is like a lack of responsibility of my own consent vector, and good is the ownership or empowerment of it.
Fuck yeah.
So evil creates the there ought to be a law mentality. Evil is white belt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So a little short story by me 6 months ago, and throughout my whole life past, like my childhood, gossip was evil to me because gossip destroyed my childhood. I couldn't play gossip. I couldn't wear, the popular girls and be like, "Oh my God, do you believe what that bitch did?" I can't do that. It's not fun for me, but it's fun for people in the world, and that's what these last 6 months I've been transmuting that of understanding and compassionating that is necessary in polite society for the hyena to get together and drag their vaginas on the ground and do the whole dance. Like that is normal, and I have to just accept it. But I've been demonizing it this whole time, like, and like feeling like I'm morally superior instead of feeling morally responsible for
Yeah.
like being an example of what not to do and not demonizing it.
Yeah. It's
So that's what I have to
option.
share.
You're creatively supporting yourself. This is why I use the word cosmology, because if you have a belief of how the universe, the world operates, that's sort of the best way I can picture. In fact, this is a form of compression, I swear, guys. And eventually it will be like, holy fuck, yes. But this is really how it is, because if you wanted to map out someone's pixels on a screen, then you could just map out the red, green, and blue. You would say, well, this is 0 to 255 red, 0 to 255 green, 0 to 255 blue. But how would you fucking map out a 33 vertebrae, each with a roll, pitch, and yaw, and that that vertebrae itself is also pointing in a direction, and that's in time? How the fuck are you going to put that into variables? And the answer is a fantasy. That probably compression, Gaia compression works through limbic. Everything's stored limbically through what is the memory leaking of this shape. Here's a perfect sphere. Oh, most of us are like, oh, that's nice. It's nice. There's no sides. There's no sharp points. It's nice. Very natural, we say. And when you see a perfect square, you're like, holy fuck, look how sharp that is. Damn, every side is the same. And you compare every side. You literally measure each one and you marvel over how measured it is. That's literally what the definition of a square is. For you to hold it in your mind, you'd have to keep believing it's a square. Am I right?
Mm.
If you're going to believe something's a square, you're going to have to constantly measure it to prove it's a square, which means that the power of a square is a fucking motor. It's a conscious motor because the shape makes your brain do something to prove that it's a square. This is what I mean when it comes back to evil, because You were spinning the world, my friends. You were spinning what things mean. You're spinning them by caring about what it means. You're caring that it's a square. You're caring, I found a square. I found a square. It's no different than when you're a kid and you're like, look, there's a cow. And now your brain's just like, where's that cow? What's he doing? Okay, he's eating grass. There's another cow around him. He's probably a nice cow. That other cow, he's probably kind of a little shady because he's over there. But this cow's great. Then now the cow's gone. What did you just do? You limbically stored that cow, didn't you? You emotionally stored it. So all these fantasies, all these emotions we have are so much more crucial than we think. They're actually, check it out, they're just the reverse of what your posture is doing. Your psychic posture. So if you're in a state of fear, that's a question mark. Your spine is turned into the shape of a question mark. And you're curled over and you're not tall. You're not proud. You're crouched down. And then when you exclaim, you're dotted, right? You're sharp and tall. So the emotion is a kind of like equivalent, some sort of like a measure of things like that. So come back to fear for just a second. Come back to evil for just a second, because I swear to you, the answer to what is being alive is just attention. If you are an organism and you like it here, you will pay attention. And if you're an organism and you don't like it here, you won't pay attention. And if you measure that over 200,000 years, you're looking at a bunch of people that really like to be paying attention. It would not be possible for you to be here had you not proven cellularly that you really like paying attention. And if it's because we do it all the time, I think that, what if this is just it? What if this is reality? It's just attention, witness, focus. And that what we would call evil is just someone loses attention. And guess what? When you watch someone behave so poorly, you're looking at someone that is suffering so much that they don't want to pay attention anymore.
Mm.
And we talk about how evil it is that there's a killer and a school shooter or someone like that. But when you Google death by cop, all this makes sense, because you start to realize that there are people that need help, and the only way that our society allows them to cry for help is to be evil. And the only reason why they choose that is because all you fucks, excuse present company, right? But all you fucks have said that there's universal evil out there. And if you're not going to see me, I'm going to fucking be the very thing that you see, that you fear and are intimidated by the most, because I need to fucking matter. I need to feel that I matter.
Yeah.
And everyone in the world knows what evil is. So if I go into this post office and I'm disgruntled, I will be seen.
Mm.
And when you compassionate that, no one should be wondering why there's school fucking shootings. No one should be wondering these things. It could not be more obvious why this is happening. There is not a better shot. It'd be sort of like expecting a Saint Bernard to not take the fucking croissant, the butter croissant that's like right there on the counter, like feeling like, oh, the world is so fucked up because the Saint Bernard took the croissant when no one was looking, and it's just like, why are you being so dense? Why would you be a Saint Bernard and not take the croissant, guys? I mean, come on, it's a fucking croissant. And when you think about how we've factored off evil, and we've said, look, none of us are going to come in here because we're going to put all our kids in here and no one's going to shoot anyone in here. And literally, you're putting a sign up that says, if you want to be seen, it is just this fucking easy. You're going to go down to Walmart, you're going to apply for this, you're going to do this, then you just walk into school, and then you are seen, my friend. You are fucking seen. So all crime, all prison, if you really start to look at this, I think you're looking at how the world is working beautifully, and that people are getting They're getting the only thing that they can get because of the equation. And you would do the same. I would do the same, guys. And even the shame you could feel even trying to compassionate that. Because I think about the shit all the time. You know what makes it easy? Is my fucking father was a Marine. And when I don't know my father, but my brother is just so shark like. He just is. He's just, I mean this in a complimentary way. Like, if you're gonna fucking have some Marines, you're gonna want my brother to spooge in a cup, and you're gonna put that in someone else because that's gonna give you that equation. I'm sorry, but it's just like you're gonna breed that the same way that I would breed a border collie to do certain things. The same way that if you want the Saint Bernard like me, right, that I'm gonna take that croissant. It's all completely necessary. And it makes it easier for me to see because I grew up with that. I watched what I would call evil, Deb, sitting on the couch next to me. And I don't mean to sound dramatic, just some of the things that would occur that I won't even bring up. I'm telling you, I got practice and I was like, how do I compassionate this? And it's no different than compassionating a reef shark. Like it really, if you understand a reef shark, there's people in Australia that they're just swimming around. Why? Because they understand. They compassionate. They know what's there. The predator is not that, is it? The predator is something else for them. So, anyway.
It's some good stuff. I was just listening to, I know, MJ, your hand's up just 1 second, about where I find my growth is where I find evil that bothers me. And like that movie, The Cove, where they unconsciously like slaughter all these dolphins. And then there was this researcher, and they did all this research. I don't know, it was back in the MK Ultra 60s experimentation of trying to control the crowd, and they were doing these experiments to make a dolphin like an assassin, and I was like, just like, I find places where I can open my aperture to understand that I didn't know dolphins had that level of consciousness. They didn't know whales had that level of consciousness when they were whaling for the oil. So how do I get, like it's going backwards to like what my grandparents felt like was good, I can consider evil. Like my evil, like in my little, tiny little town was like, and don't, this is not I'd love to live in a trailer and live a simple life. So it's not about that, but the trailer people, it was like carnival people. It was just like they had like this kind of like wildness. And now I'm like saying what you're saying is like they just didn't have enough witness. I mean, they didn't have witness in parenting. They didn't have witness in anyone caring if they achieved anything. So I'm just kind of like growing in my level of like what I ponder now. So that's kind of cool. So Mary Jo, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, so if I can get over my terror, that happens to me. I have smaller moments of terror, like ever since I went through that ordeal and even before that, some trauma stuff, and I will literally freeze. Like if I want to say something, like I did it on here, like so many times. And it's really weird because I've never I don't know. It's just like something, I guess, that came after my health experience last year, and everything's not firing like it used to. But like, I never used to have problems. I would not have a problem speaking to in a group like this, and like around my friends, I don't. But like, I have that problem where I'll freeze up, like I can't like it, I just freeze, like nothing comes out. I go blank and it's terrible. But anyway, that's kind of like I guess I experience many terrors all the time. But anyway, what I was going to say was I was looking at the chat and Clinton said, evil is the reversal of live. And that made me think of the number 137. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Richard Feynman. Richard Feynman, he's a scientist, and he talks about the fine structure constant of this field, this earth field we live in. And it's that number 137. Like, um, I used to be able to tell you kind of like what that means. It's something that holds everything together, just the structures of the universe, like a binding. And so if you look into that number, you can see that it's, if Sarah were here, that'd be cool because she could probably talk about it. It's like a Kabbalistic number. And when I see the word evil and live, I see there's a 1, a 3, and a 7 because there's an LIE, which is lie, which is weird, but um it's also okay, so 137 is in evil, live, it's in alien, it's in Levi, like the Levite priest. Um and of course there's the L, the EL. And I just think evil is like if you imagine the world that was started with the tension of like a bow and arrow, like an arrow of time, then you got it going, that's creation, boom, and it's going. And our mind has to think it's going in a direction. And trauma and emotions can stop that arrow of your perceived arrow. And it's not necessarily evil, it's because something needs witness. That's all, I think.
I want to.
You didn't come on here and did not ask about PAG, right, Mary Jo?
Pag, he said what it was. What?
Okay.
What?
I
How
didn't.
did
I was.
what did he said?
What is PAG, James?
Periapdactyl gray. It's a portion of the brain. I don't want to forget though, because Mary Jo, you said something earlier that I also think warrants a space, which is I wonder how many of us have. This happened to me today. I was taking a little nappy before dojo, and I laid down and I wasn't sleeping. I was just relaxing, like meditating, and it's been a while since I've done that, and was able to lay down, and so now consciously I'm like, okay, I'm laying down. Now I'm resting. This is resting. And then there's a sort of a conscious release where you could call it the first stage of falling asleep, but it's actually not. It's just we happen to do that before we go to sleep is what it is, and maybe remember it. But it's really more you let go of this alertness. You you your cosmology is allowed to change is what's happening. Your belief in the universe is allowed to relax, and you can settle back into your couch a little bit. And you do this sometimes if you make your cup of tea or set the lights at night. But you may not be doing it when you're terrified. That when you encounter a fear, th- this happens to me in the wilderness at night. I'll go camping alone. We did a good bit of the Appalachian Trail, not anywhere like a lot, but I'm just saying I've done a lot of solo hiking, and it's embarrassing when I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I never would have been able to admit how terrified I was, how scared I was all the time. I was so scared a lot. Not just when that guy showed up, Lori, because that was even when I was car camping, but just when I was just out on my own backpacking. I really wasn't scared with other people. But when I was
Mm-mm.
alone, I was
Yeah.
really scared. And I was in Savage Gulf, and this rainstorm happened, and I was making black beans, and the rain came down so hard it knocked over the black beans, and then it caused a fire. So it was like raining, and then somehow my campsite was on fire and it was raining. And then, but it's like really raining hard, and then I get in my tent, and then it's raining so hard. It's like four inches of water in the tent with me. I'm crouched, just kind of sitting there, crouched the whole time, and I'm listening to gigantic trees falling, like right next to me, just like all around me, and thunder and lightning and really bright lightning, and I was so petrified and terrified, and I'm so thankful that that happened because I didn't I had nothing else to do. I had to I had to settle into that. I had to become this is a vessel too. This terror is a cosmology. What you're experiencing right now is the same thing you would experience if you were just trying to relax at night in bed. There's a point where you're like, "Hey, I'm not going to be afraid of the world anymore. I'm not going to be so I'm going to let my jaw go. I'm going to let my jaw go." And most of us never practice this under tension, under red pheasantry. We don't even know what that means. In fact, we just have to keep asking, what the fuck does red pheasant mean? It's like, look, I don't have a better analogy, but this is what we have. It's the closest thing. It's under the couch, right? We're reaching for this remote control that we know is there. And if you can keep finding these things, and sinking the same way you would relax a little bit more because it's couch time or it's nap time or it's time to go to sleep. You'll all your notes will change, your resolution will increase. It'll be really hard. You'll be walking around going, "Man, I have not seen evil in a long time." And that's kind of where I'm at. I know horrible things happen. I know they're still happening. I also know that there was a time when people would have found someone like me and done horrible things to my sinews, stretched my fingernails. They would have pulled my fingernails out. They would have shoved bamboo in there. Then they would have tied a rope around my neck and kept me tied to a tree. Then they would have twisted my nipples until I screamed. And then they'd talk about how brave I am. Then they'd twist my nipples until, like, I'm just literally telling you just like what Turtle Island guys used to do to each other. They was just like, "Hey, what's that, Frank? The fucker is a good torturer." Like, damn that dude. Damn, I wish he was better. I'd torture him more. Watching that fucker scream. You might say, "James, this proves your point, how fucking evil it is." And this is the experience, not evil. This is the terror, not the evil. It's an intense experience. It's a very intense experience. And it's so easy to say that that is evil, but also what is happening? The brain is being stretched. Anyone who survives that encounter, you don't even have to be there. You know why? Because we have fucking literature, which means someone's going to write down the perils of trials and trepidations of colonial Texas in 1863. I'm here to tell you the story about Ginger and Roger and their three children, and the events that befell them in the summer in the gulch of that. I'm making this shit up, but you know this happened. You fucking know it did. And because we have story, because we have folklore, cosmology is able to be spread from one brain to another, from one immune system to another. And it happens from the green-eyed Apache, the cult of
No.
Cheyenne. These things, these terror are what building our mind's capacity to have more. And the more capacity we have, the more morality we have. And the more morality we have, the more we become moral, not immoral. which means that the more that we're torn apart, the more that we experience things that are just Red Bull insane shit that we do now. Like in my lifetime, it was like I'm going to jump off a skateboard, I'm going to jump over one Datsun 280Z, and that was fucking huge, man.
My
Like if you could
kids.
do that on a skateboard, that was fucking epic as shit. And if you do that now, it's just kind of like, eh. So it's all of these things are being stretched in exactly the right way. And the end result is you're ending up with a much more moral. We're so fucking moral and compassionate. We're arguing over gender. Like
Mm.
that's how fucking cool it is right now. That we're so intricate now that we're like, I want to have an imagination longer. We're doing great.
But
You know,
you think I'll be able to not freeze at some point?
I think that I'm so glad you asked because I think ultimately this is meant for you and anyone else who's in this situation because I think you need to start recognizing the red pheasant. I think that you're going to find yourself the next, if you can catch it. This is why it's a red pheasant. If you can catch this thing, all it takes is one catch. Because really, I swear all it takes is one catch because your body sees you, just like when you defend ego, it sees you no longer treat terror in the same way. Terror
Right.
is an aphrodisiac. It's a it's a spice.
Not
It's
for
a
all of us.
lottery ticket. It's a Willy Wonka. And if you can see that, and this is what I mean, you don't have to hold it the whole time. You just need like what is it, like 7 seconds, morphs it into like a melts the entire universe. You're fucked now. If you can hold that for 7 seconds, universe is fucked. They'll never be able to defy you again. That level of terror will now taste good to you the same way that my brother is like, here, smoke this cigarette. It's like, oh, this is fucking terrible. Yeah, if you put more, actually, it was dip. I'm sorry. Here, put this in your lip. I'm like, this is fucking terrible. He's like, you need to put more in your lip. I'm like, I can't see. He's like, put more in your lips. Like, I'm throwing up white things. These are organic white things from my inside. It's like you just need more. It's like these things are the only thing that give us the scaffolding to grow and to even want more of them. So I say find those things, look for them. Even the idea if you're afraid of heights, I think that this is a really nice cheap way of experiencing what I'm talking about because if you're afraid of heights, it's pretty easy to encounter a place where you can encourage that fear again. And that if you can have that fear and realize how fucking lit it is, that you found a solar vent at the bottom of the ocean. Like seriously, you found this vent that's putting out all this hot water, is what it is. And you just think hot water's bad. That's all. So this is a gift. These adrenaline moments are gifts for you because they give you a chance to sit near that and stretch, to bask in that openness of it all.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
I got to receive a person's story who was a, a a woman. I guess she's a legend in mountaineering. She was around my age, and she had climbed all the high mountains in Tibet and Everest twice, and she lost her best friend watching him like die. She nearly died 3 times, and I was like, I listened to her story, and I was like, I watched that IMAX movie. And I was like, woke up in a dream with my spread eagle on the bed, like holding on like I was on Everest. And I am like really realizing how, that woman did not want to share her story. And that's like amazing. Like, why would she not want to share that story? You know how rare it is for a person to get to that level of mountaineering and then to push herself? But there was something about it that she explained to me that she was getting to this place where she was okay not going to the top. She was, she got to this place and she said, I can be here now. I don't have to go to that extreme place. So do you think that that red pheasant is something that, you can get addicted to stalking it or,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
actually can be the tricky part about it um is that you're setting your threshold each time
The levels.
stretching that, right? You're stretching
Yeah.
what it takes. Yeah, it's very dangerous. I've noticed that when so real quick, because I really want to hear what Yesenia has to say. But
Yeah.
when I was in Asheville, I was trying to have a studio so I could make art, and I found a gas station, the rent was fucking ridiculous, like $1,700 or something. So the only way we could survive is to throw raves and giant parties and things like that. And all of these, fuck, I just forgot what I was talking about. I'm so sorry. Yesenia, go ahead. I totally forgot what I was going to say, Lori, but it was.
Well, okay, it's about the addiction to the red pheasant. But go ahead, Yesenia. Yeah.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Go
Thank you
ahead, go
so
ahead, go
much.
ahead.
Okay, so I thought I thought it was ecstasy is what I thought I was taking, and it wasn't, right? So it was like something very much not that, like very much more addicting is what I'm trying to say. And halfway through the night, I turned to my partner and I said, something is deeply wrong, and I feel great, but this is a huge problem. And here's what I meant. So I don't know what it is. It's something else, obviously, but I knew what happened to me is that, fuck, I've never felt this good. This is going to be a problem, is what I felt. I knew in the middle of it, this is a huge problem, James. And I'm gonna be straight with you. I think only now do I realize that me declaring it a huge problem was me desperately trying to save the preservation of my species. Do you know what I mean? I know you know
Mhm.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to cater that middle. And the good news is I think over time you can reset your parthenia. You can reset your virginity, but it's fucking hard as fuck, especially when it's a PTSD situation. Because if you experience fear involuntarily, how are you going to top that voluntarily? How are
Wow.
you going to unhook that tragedy? This is what all PTSD is, I think, is because if you can come back to the same limbic experience and have a more conscious, consensual relationship with, say, height, right? Being afraid of your heights, you're mastering that limbic level, and you're now letting it serve you. Versus if you've had PTSD there, but it's only on the E 4 octaves above high E, then you're always fucked if that sound never occurs because you never get to practice having that consent, which is why I knew in the middle of that experience, I'm fucked because I'm not going to be able to feel this way in an average place. And it was so deep. It was a loss. Something had been taken from me. The same way a 12-year-old who smokes marijuana really, really just gets raped. Their endocannabinoidal system is raped, I think, because they don't get a chance to know all the between. It's so crucial that you have angst, and then you're 19 and you have angst, and then you smoke weed, and then you're just like, oh my, like it's just you understand so much more is what I'm trying to say. So
Well,
we can replace that level as long as there's not PTSD. I think over time, you don't have that limbic enough, and then you can return your parthenia to what you're used to, which is I had cookies like 3 months ago, and it's been kind of hard. I think I'm finally over them now. This is the first time I haven't had cookies in like a week in my house, but it's like that's what happens to me because I get on that, oh, this limbic train is high, and I'm a fucking Taurus. I love fucking food like that, so I'm fucked because I taste one of those, and 8 months later, I'm just like hiding behind fucking 7-Eleven, freebasing Oreos and shit because of the exact same thing we're talking about now. And fear works the same way, doesn't it? Fear works the same way. Being addicted to adrenaline works the same way. I'm going to stop talking.
All right. Right on.
I was afraid of everything, and I pushed myself into like crazy situations when I was younger, and I got it all out of my system when I was in my 30s. Um, but I was always like a physical coward, and that's still there. I don't know what that's like. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same physical cowardice myself,
Mm.
and but I know why. There's certain PTSD that I've
Yeah, me
when I
too.
was younger that made physical violence never ever appealing or limbically even
The
reachable.
Marines.
That's why when my wife had told everyone I was a wife beater and they were like, "Oh, it must be a wife beater," I could not believe how crushed like I could not. It was so crushing because of just how fuck you guys don't. Oh, why you die? I was like the perfect vitriol, like it ripped off the rest of the skin that was clinging to my rib cage, honestly, in like the most beautiful way. And it wasn't evil. That was an experience that was intense. It wasn't evil, right? And that's it's. I had to stretch my aperture to be able to see that. I didn't see it then, but now it's such a red pheasant.
Well, I love all that, and I want Yesenia to go. I just want to relate. I never skinned my knee as a kid. I just did not want physical pain, and I started rollerblading it when I was in my 30s, and I forced myself to fall down every time I put the blades on. I wanted to fall, so I could get really good at falling. So I just fell every time I forced myself to do like this radical falling, and so
Brilliant.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, go ahead, Yesenia.
Yeah, we're running low on time, but
No,
I
we're
just
not.
wa- I just wanted to say that when I hung out with you, Lori, just your power of witness.
Wait a second. You're cracking up.
Really
You're
sticky.
Oh,
you're
can you hear
cracking
me
up.
better? Can you hear me better? Is it better now?
No.
Oh my
Can
God.
you unplug it?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
wait,
no, it's
wait,
not better. You're probably
No.
it's a
wait.
crackling.
What's crackling? Okay, talk now.
Okay. Is this better?
Crackling is what it is. You said we can hear you well.
Oh,
We can't hear
I'm
you.
missing.
By the way, don't feel rushed. It's okay.
Don't rush. You've been so patient waiting.
Okay. Is it
Okay.
still crackling?
Yeah, it's
Sounds
still
like a
crackling,
bad chord.
It's like static in your wire,
Yeah,
Yesenia.
it's the wire.
but only when you talk. Like it's not there all the time, right? So it's only
Use
when
sign language.
Okay. I don't know what to do about it right now. Can I share? Or
Can you? How about this? Can you change your audio source and change it back?
Yeah, because it was just fine earlier. I had mine drop out and do that to me a couple times.
audio source?
You know what I mean? Where you can change from like microphone to
Okay, is this better?
down there where mute is.
Yeah, I clicked. I have default internal mic and internal mic. I switched it. Is it better?
No,
Let me see.
it actually sounds like someone else is talking almost. Like you're hearing.
Maybe other people can mute and see if that makes it better.
How about now?
You need to say more than just two.
Okay, so what I wanted to say was when I hung out with Lori last week, is this better or not really?
It's not, but
No.
I can hear you.
Okay, we'll just save it for next time.
Oh shit!
Well, I know. I really want to hear Yesenia.
I
So
want to hear that. Yeah,
maybe she can take her
I
earphones
get it.
out,
Yeah.
come out of Zoom, and come back in.
Yeah, you could try that. Yeah, you could try that if you wanted to.
Because we have time. It's like we have another
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
idea,
we
actually.
have 35 minutes, so we have plenty of time. Nobody's hands up, and she's been
Well, we got 6 minutes.
oh, we only have 6 minutes. I'm lost in time. Thank
See,
you.
now
I
I
mean,
don't feel so
if
bad
we were
about
still
that.
going, I would.
No. Like we have 6 minutes, but I wanted to hear Yesenia.
But if
And
even
anybody else have
I'm
something on the topic,
happy
that'd
to
be
do 5 more
awesome.
minutes, Yesenia. If 10 minutes or so is.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
that.
Oh, we did it! Let's see what's okay. So when I was hanging out with Lori
Oh,
last
so
week.
much better. I'm glad we did this. Thank
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Thank you for being honest with me and not letting me share statically. I would have been so embarrassed later. But anyway, when I was hanging out with Lori, I felt so much terror, and it wasn't because of Lori. It was like there was so many factors. Like number one, I've never been to Crestone, Colorado. I've never car camped. I was in the middle of fucking nowhere. As a city girl, I was in the middle of fucking nowhere. But I was with a stranger, not really a stranger because I knew you digitally for 6 months, but like it's still, it's like it was all novelty, and the novelty was this dark abyss of mystery that I was just existing in. And on top of that, this person that I go see, aka Lori, is a medicine woman, and she's like a walking sun. So her witness burns. So every time I felt like that I shared lack, she didn't even have to mention it. It was just burning on me, and I just felt my terror like evaporate, and I could just feel like how you mentioned earlier, James, like my cosmology alchemize itself. And it was like I shit you not, I came back with a fucking fever from how burnt up I was, and how much my body has changed, and even my perspective in the last week. So it was definitely a magical trip. And in that magic, like, terror was a part of the equation. It was a part of the algorithm. So like X equals Y, and that Y is a new Yesenia, so to speak. So I feel like the whole hermetic ladder of evil and terror is necessary in order to be at like an alchemized golden state.
Yeah.
Because without it, how would you? We live in a dualistic reality. Like, the mass consensus has agreed to this. So that is how you can. I feel like that you can use that to alchemize. That is part of the cauldron that you can, make your magical potion in. So thank you for letting me share.
It's all about heat, man, isn't it? It's all about heat. We've been talking about that. In fact, really glad you brought this up, Yesenia, because not just with pie, there's been a couple times where you have and you've betrayed yourself to me, thank God, or else I wouldn't have caught it. Where you've had to stand in your own power alone, and you've been just like, oh my fucking inside, you're just been like, oh God, I thought you were gonna kick me out. And I thought you were gonna fucking come and steal my dog and tell my dog stories about what a piece of shit I was, and all of a sudden I thought you were gonna fire me, and that all that is, I would have ruined you if I would have been like, hey, you sitting here, I just wanted to pull you aside and tell you that this is what I really think, and da 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 da. And I can't. This is me betraying you. That I never see you guys squirm. I never even assume it. I only find out in passing like this, and I'm really thankful for it, because I think that you having to squirm through that when you were in the right the whole time, like your feelings about all these things, there's not a fucking thing that you did that was even questionable. But here you were confessing to me, and I can't remember the details, but it was definitely two different times. It wasn't just necessarily about the one person; it was something else too. But on two very different occasions, you expressed that same thing. That's what Dojo is all about.
Your voice didn't even
opportunity to have to do that and to suffer through. If I trusted you, I would let you suffer through that moment, and know that you'll get there. And even not even feel that the world requires that you even do that, right? All those things are part of this new posture, which, I'll be straight up with you, it may look like more indifferent than a typical codependent relationship would require me to instead say, hey, Yesenia, I wanted to give you some affirmations here, and affirmations here, and affirmations here, and affirmations here. That sounds like, well, this isn't that how we're supposed to do it, and I don't know if that's how we're supposed to do it, because I just don't like that. I don't know if that mode feels very self-serving to everyone who's choosing that mode versus someone else who's more like, why don't I just be authentic, and what is authentically will come from me, and then you just come to me when you need me. It's we even call this autistic now, and I'm like, well, you just mean like normal shit? And it's like, yeah, that's autistic now, and it's like, I didn't even know that. But I think that we're stepping into the world where we understand that the codependency isn't necessary. I know this is too far ahead of your time, not your time, Yesenia, but like all of us, because when I bring this up, it's like, well, but I don't think friends is what we think it means anymore. I don't think the word friendship is going to be in the equation much longer. I don't think that's going to be the same
Yeah,
thing.
the friends means let's make a deal. And there's no deals to be made when you're authentic. Then everyone's your friend, right? So you go to the grocery store, it's Dolphin Pod.
Yes, and
right?
And I think we're
just
moving
like
out
when you
away
show
from
up,
codependence.
when you show up at a public campground, you're going to trust the person camped next to you
Yep.
exactly the right amount, aren't you?
Yep.
You're not going to be like, oh, well, I can trust them. No, you can't. Okay.
No, you
Not
can't.
only can you not, why the fuck do you want a world where, hey, look, y'all, we need to have a public library where we can drop our kids off and none of them are going to get read a story by a tranny and none of them are going to get molested and none of them are going to have politics shoved down their throat. And I'm telling you, I don't think that world is possible. And why are you such a retard that you want to drop your kids off so you can go to Target for 2 hours, then come back and complain because something happened to them? Like, what? Where
Does-
do you expect this to be in nature? How
I
is
let a
nature
tranny
possible?
read my kids a story. Does that make me a bad parent?
It's just funny that these are the things that if you do not want to face predator, you're going to be afraid of a tranny reading your kids a bedtime story if you drop them off at a library and leave them there unattended. And that if you have this fear and you've decided that this is how we fix America, man, your cosmology is as creative as it could be, which shows a very healthy diet of protein, electrolytes, amino acids. I mean, for you to be coming up with this stuff is a pretty hardy America with a pretty hardy cosmology. Like, we're walking around just like, hey, we love science. And yeah, I showed you guys all the laughter about all I did was say, isn't it funny that science doesn't mean this?
I don't really understand how we got from the 90s to here.
I think we need to understand how crude we were is not even close to how we were before we even knew what crude could be. And before that, we really were just like, wake up and I'm gonna fucking smash Brad in the head with this rock because I'm a caveman and I'm just fucking bored and I want to see what's inside his head. And just saying that you do that enough and then you end up with this weird ass society where people are like, I'm gonna wear high heels and I'm gonna wear shoulder pads and I'm gonna distribute fermented wheat and judge this guy because there's too many hops in it and shit like that. Like we're still smashing each other with rocks. We're still doing the same thing. We've gotten so high resolution at it.
Well, I know that this is good, but we're over time, so I just wanted to give the time up and tell you that the fashion is Dukes of Hazzard here. I noticed there is some mullets. People are really going retro, and I think that is a circle, and the fashion is funny. So it's been a really good dojo, and I just wanted to say thanks for letting me moderate. It's been fun.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for doing it, Lori. Always.
Hey, everybody.
Love you guys.
Yeah, let's unmute and say goodbye. We'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it.
Love y'all.
Have a good night, everybody.
Guys.
Bye. Love you guys. Have a good week.
Love you.